Reefs are a haven for a large fraction of Earth's biodiversity. They have been called the rainforest of the seas. Scientists estimate that 25% of all marine species live in and around coral reefs, making them one of the most diverse habitats in the world. Today we welcome Rudell Williams to Good Morning SKN, co-director and co-founder of CARE SKN, Coral Reef Assistance Restoration and Education SKN. So good morning, Rudell. Welcome back.
Good morning to you. It's a pleasure to be here again.
Oh, it's our pleasure to have you. So tell us about the recently concluded Reef Check certification course.
So Reef Check, it's a worldwide certification that we use to certify persons from age 16, once you could swim or snorkel. Sometimes you do it to scuba, but because most persons may not be scuba certified, we choose to do it this year, which is our first to snorkeling. And Reef Check is a mechanism that we use to actually survey a reef. So we check fish life, the amount of fish living on the reef, that particular reef, algae, substrate, hard coral, soft coral, that kind of stuff, diseased coral, dying coral, bleached corals. And so we go underwater, and it's fascinating. You got the opportunity to write underwater. So you go underwater, you use this slate, and one person do the check, while another person stay above and write. And so, because we can't talk underwater, we use hand signals that represent. So this is for algae. We're going to do a little game afterwards. This is for algae. This is for rock. This is for hard coral, soft coral, sponge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's what we use when we're underwater. During the Reef Check course, we had 10 students who successfully completed the Reef Check. So wherever they go in the Caribbean islands, they could do a Reef Check survey.
That's amazing. I mean, I heard you say age 16. And I've actually gotten ahead of you with the game because there's a clip of me doing this before. I'm sure they can find it. Not for today, though, but I didn't know what that meant. Soft coral. No, I know. Thank you, Rudell. All right, so 16 years old. What are the ages, Mike?
During the class?
Yes.
Yeah, we had about 3 or 4 persons around that age who got certified.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So what's the plan for them after this? Is it that you're going to do this? How often are you going to perform that Reef Check, and where do you see them?
Well, we'll be doing Reef Check certification next year again. But those who are already certified, when SKN goes out to the survey, we'll be bringing them along with us.
Okay, that's great.
So more hands, the merrier, because they're already trained. So it'll be easier for us to get around. And if it's a deeper reef, then we have to use those. We have a few who were certified, who's also scuba certified. So they'll be able to go down with us and do the survey at a deeper level, like beyond 40 feet, something like that. Yeah.
So how often do you go out and check the reef?
Well, the checking of the reef, KSKN, what we have been busy doing is building the coral nursery. The Coral Reef Nursery, we used, we call it the Christmas tree method. So we use PVC pipe and we constructed a Christmas tree from PVC. And we drill holes in each extended arm of the PVC, and we hang a piece of coral in each hole going across. So at least one tree have probably over 100 pieces of coral. Those coral will then grow to a size of maturity. We will take them from the nursery and transplant them back to the reef. So we can get healthy reef.
Well, how long does that take? Because that process sounds, I have to tell you, very, very interesting.
Well, for that process, we have to wait, and it could be 2, 3, 4 months based on the size of goat, based on the water quality, based on it need current too. So we place them in an area where the current is moving, and so they could grow faster. We also do microfragmentation, where you take a boulder coral and you cut them in smaller pieces. Once they're the same genotype, because they're not accustomed to being small, they feel uncomfortable and they start to join back to each other. And we get a big boulder coral that will take 75 years to grow in months.
Really?
Wow. Look at
That is amazing. And this goes on, you tell me this goes on here.
Yes.
How did we not know that before?
What? I'm flabbergasted. Like, I can't believe it. Like,
Wow.
to see them join together again. That would be amazing for me. So, which reefs did you visit? Because I only know about one reef. That's on South Frisbee.
Yeah, we did the survey at the water break by Four Seasons.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
the rocky area.
Yeah, the rock.
there.
Yes, I got it.
They were actually rocks first, but because they have been there for so long, they're now overgrown with different types of coral, hard coral, soft coral, boulder coral, different type of fish from barracuda, go right down, eagle ray, stingray, green turtles, so around the water break.
Nice.
So yeah, it's an interesting site right out there.
All right, so you've talked about care SKN in relation to coral reefs generally, and you gave us some insight into what it is that you do there. In terms of protecting the existing coral reefs, does that form part of it? And in terms of your education outreach as well, what have you been doing?
Yeah, the protection of the coral reef, it comes in with, this is where DMR, Department of Marine Resources, takes a big part, play a big part. We're just an NGO, but they have jurisdiction over those areas, so they have certain things in place. We call them marine managed protected areas. So once those what legislations are in place, what should happen is we should have persons actually, even though the paperwork is there, sometimes the monitoring aspect of it might not be going on, and so sometimes you will have overfishing. And one of the big things is anchorage. The ship and the yachts and those persons, they come in and they anchor, and the anchor drop on the reef. And when they pull the anchor to bring it back up, the reef turns to rubble. This is the sign for rubble. The reef turns to rubble. And so in order to protect that, one of the things that SKN want to do is to help with anchorage, showing persons the yachts and the cruise ships and all those, the boaters, safe anchoring. We prefer if they hook onto a mooring line, because if you're on a mooring line, you don't have to drop your anchor, because we already put down the anchor for you. You hook your yacht to the mooring, and it will prevent you from jagging you. So those are the things that we want to do to help to protect coral reef and the continuous surveying of the reef. The more data we have, we will know what condition the reefs are in. It's a whole deeper scientific thing with the zooxanthellae going into the coral to give it its color, and so it prevents it from bleaching.
Very important question, Rudell. And it's, I'll just ask it. What's the status of the reefs here in St. Kitts and Nevis?
What's the status?
Yes.
Well, it's based on the area that you go to. You have reefs in the marine protected areas we call the Narrows, Booby Island, go back there. Then you have reefs, and you go tell where the reefs, the color of the water will change. So you know when it is sand, and you know when it is reef. Where reefs are, the bottom looks a little, you could see like the design in the water, a little darker bluish.
That's what I was gonna ask.
You know when you're on a boat or you're on a yacht, the boat is passing over, you realize the color change, you know, okay, it's either rocks, reef, or seagrass down there. When it is sand, the water look more beachish, if I could say that. If I could say that. So the range is wide, and the reason why it's important for us to protect it, because when we have little to no reef, we have little to no fish, meaning they go out further for cover, for a habitat, but predators out there. So bigger predators out there, and then the fishermen have to go further out to catch those same fish. But if we protect those reefs that are closer in, then the fisherman might just be able to go offshore, catch the fish, come back in, food security. Tourism, we have a big amount of divers that comes to St. Kitts just to dive.
Yeah.
They dive for 10 days straight. And when they go down, what they want to see is coral reef. They don't want to dive on just rocks, because what happens is after the coral die, all it looks like is rock, because what is left is the hard substrate that the coral was living on.
Okay.
And so we have to protect that so that we can have a sustainable livelihood going on in St. Kitts and Nevis.
So other than the anchorage protection, because you alluded to that earlier in our conversation, what else can the locals do to ensure that we keep the reef alive, or we protect them, we preserve them?
Pollution, plastic, garbage going into the ocean, ocean acidification. Sometimes the cruise ship come in and they release the ballast water, or they release whatever waste from the ship into that goes on the reef. Living things on the reef, they eat that, we eat them. You see what I'm getting at?
It's a food web.
So that's why we here SKN we envision. It was funny. I had the same vision, and I want to shout out my partner Valerie Gregor. She is a scuba instructor, reef check instructor, agro instructor, swim instructor. So if anybody wants to do scuba, reef check, agro, anything, she can do that. I want to shout out also Iweco. Those were the ones who gave us the funding to actually put the nurseries in the water, and Department of Marine Resources and the Jeff. And so it was a whole collaborated of parties coming together to get this done.
Good stuff, good stuff.
Oh, that's great. So we had in the news recently stony coral tissue loss disease. That was the first detected off the Florida coast in 2014. It has most recently been found in our neighboring territory of Antigua and Barbuda. Has it been detected here in St. Kitts and Nevis? Do you know whether it has or not?
Yes. I've heard of the disease before, but I have never, well, to my knowledge, never been reported to me to say, well, it's but I heard of it, this stony coral disease. It it loses its, let me use the word, its vigor.
So its color?
Its color, its size, and it just start to eat away, until, because when a coral die, it gets hard. We actually had a piece of coral that we took, and we left it just to see what's the result of the coral being out of water.
Yes.
Because a coral, what persons may or may not know is we get majority of our oxygen from the ocean.
Yeah, that I know.
Not the forest.
Yeah.
The ocean, the coral reef, actually they photosynthesize just like the trees, and they give off oxygen. So when you take it out of the water and you don't have that oxygen, you don't have any nutrients, you don't photosynthesize, it turns white and it gets hard.
So the sea stones that we look like, that's the actual corals. They have some that have the design.
Different shapes and so on.
So
it bleached. This is until it didn't return in time to give it its color and its nutrient. And it just stayed there like that. Get hard.
Okay.
So.
Oh, wow. So are there any other diseases to the coral that we should be wary of?
Yeah, they have the black band disease. You could figure out the black band disease easy because it actually makes a band around the coral.
Okay.
So you might be snorkeling and you see this black band going right around. If you have a good snorkeler, you could snorkel down and look right around the coral, and you will see it going right around. The same for the white band disease. It will go right around. And then if you see the little nibbles on the top of a coral, it's not actually a disease, it will just be the parrotfish picking away, because that's how they survive.
All right. One of the things that was fascinating to me in having this discussion with you is that it reminded me of a documentary that I watched on coral bleaching and how the rising of the sea temperature by as much as 1 or 2 degrees seemingly affects, the longevity of coral reefs. Have you noticed that here? We're not going to be immune to that, obviously. Have you noticed any signs of coral bleaching here?
Well, on our nursery, we had bleaching. Yeah. We just put it down, and sometimes, as I said, due to the change in the water temperature, water get too hot or something like that, and then they just start to change the color from the tip. You see it start to turn white coming down. If the water quality changes back, then it has a chance to
regain its color.
Yeah, so it happens all the time. Once the water temperature change, but the key is water temperature, water quality. So that's why we have to do water quality check, because you might take a coral from one area thinking that that area might be bad, and then you put it in another area and then you realize it just wither away because the water quality might not have been conducive for the growth of the coral. And so all of those factors, water quality, water movement, that's why they have a new mechanism that they use in the lab, or was out in the ocean, but in the lab, they put them in some tubs and they call it race waves. So in the tub, the water is going like this. And they put the coral in and they leave it. And the coral thinks that it's in the ocean. So they kind of trick it.
Programming thing. Yes,
by the waves moving and the current, and the coral will stay in there and go.